calling these ground rules, but I want to set some frames before we jump into today's lesson. And this lesson is all about like you've got people within your audience that are ready to buy stuff from you, and you just don't know how to connect with them. So we're going to talk about the right ways to do that, how to do it, how to maximize an audience you already have. But to be clear, if you're thinking, well, Trevor, I don't have an audience. I'm not Instagram famous. I don't have a bunch of YouTube subscribers. That's just a limiting belief. I mean, yeah, there's obviously some logistics there that are true, but it's simply like I, I don't know any other way to say it. Like I think you're thinking about it in the wrong way. So here's how I know that everyone's an influencer. All right, what is influence? Influence is just sway. Right, there's nothing else. It's you have the ability to sway how somebody reacts to something. You already do this at your home. Or you already do this in your neighborhood. You already do this with your family, your friends. Or you already have influence. The only question is, who do you influence and how many people do you influence and in what ways do you influence them? But any audience counts. So if you're watching this, you have an audience. Unless you're literally a hermit that lives on an island that no other people are on, that you've never interacted, you don't have the internet. Otherwise, you're actually an influencer, whether you like the term or not. And I'm going to do like a 30-second pause because I have a sneaking suspicion that YouTube isn't streaming. And I'm just going to confirm that. And the nice thing is, if you're watching the replay of this on YouTube Live, you're like, oh, well, this guy's an idiot. It is streaming. Well, I don't know that, so I have to check. Oh, I'm live. Okay, cool. We did it.
Yeah, you're live. You're live.
Yep. So maybe we'll cut that out. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Okay. So that's ground rule number one. Ground rule number two, follower count is dead. It is the most overrated thing in the entire world in 2026. All right, 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers, 1,000,000 followers used to mean something incredible. Right? It was actually like one of the most important stats. Like, how many followers do you have? In 2026, it is a vanity metric. It's because the algorithms, they don't care. And neither do buyers. What do I mean by this? When I actually built an Instagram following to over, I think I had well over 100,000 followers just on Instagram alone. And it's funny, if you go find that account that I did that with, it has since actually dropped below because I don't do anything with it. Right? That's how a following works. When there's nothing there, they'll unfollow you. Now, when I did this in, let's say, 2015, you could make the argument it kind of mattered. At least I thought it did, because it gave you a little bit of clout. People took you seriously. I was able to collaborate with different people. It's like that. I see all these memes about people that are in LA and or funny videos about people in LA and like they don't even talk to you and then until they find out you have followers. That's just a microcosm of the greater ecosystem. Great, but if you have 100,000 followers and no relationships, if people that don't know, like, and trust you, I don't really care. Right? There's very little correlation between number of followers and people that know, like, and trust you, or better put, people that are in a buying pocket and ready to give you money. So my argument is this: I would rather have 1,000 raving fans that are ready to go to war with me than 100,000 people who casually know me. Right? These 1,000 people are locked in, and they care about what I'm doing, and they want a piece of it. They can literally fund your entire career, even if that number never grows. Whereas if you have 100,000 casual passerby people, you actually have to be an insane marketer to make even decent money from that. Now, the exception to this rule is massive scale. And the person I'll use as an example, I don't know if it's on the next slide or not, so I'll say it here, is Kim Kardashian. I would imagine she probably has, I'm not going to look, but probably 100 million followers. It's probably something ridiculous. At that much scale, yeah, it obviously matters, because even if you have a 0.001% conversion rate, every time you make a post, you can go make $1 million. Maybe not literally, but it doesn't matter, because part of that is if you have 1 million, 10 million, 100 million followers, you're going to have that 1,000 within it. And maybe for them, it's not 1,000, maybe it's 100,000. But the point is, if you go look at those followers, it's not the big number. It's not the vanity metric. It's how many people really give a shit. And that's what we want to optimize for, not optimize for just collecting vanity metrics. It's the same thing for running ads. I don't care how many clicks you got. I really don't even care how many leads you got. How much money did you collect? What's in your bank account? How much impact did you make? Right? Those are real metrics. That's what this is. It's like the people that know, like, and trust you. Now, I didn't make a slide for this, but how do you quantify that? Well, actually, I don't know. So maybe that's another lesson for another day. But the whole point of this is relationships at scales, right? Relationships at scale, excuse me. You're not collecting followers. You're collecting that know, like, and trust factor. You are building trust at scale, and at a scale that you can't do in real life. That is the game. That's the whole goal. Because in real life, We all have these people, right? Actually, Scott's on here watching with me live right now. Because I met him in person, he kind of comes in that category. And yeah, he probably knew me to some extent. He probably liked me to some extent. But breaking bread with him, spending time with him, seeing him in person, like giving him a hug, like dapping him up, that takes your relationship to like the nth degree. And that's awesome. You probably are not going to be able to scale that to 1,000 people or 10,000 people that you know intimately in person. So what we're going to be talking about today is how can we replicate that online? How can we replicate that in ways that are scalable? Because that is what matters, not how many followers do I have on Instagram, how many subscribers I have on YouTube, right? They might be soft indicators. They might be, hey, we're trending in the right direction. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. I'd rather have subscribers than not. But it's not the metric that's you're going to make money from. Awesome. So part 2, audience equity. Every ask spends some of your equity. What does this mean? Think of your audience as a bank account. Every time you put value out, you're depositing money into that bank account. Anytime you make an ask, or better put, or more kind of terminology I would use, every time you make an offer, you're withdrawing from that bank account. So if you're constantly publicly selling, your bank account overdrafts. Nobody's going to be there anymore. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to trust you. That is the number one audience mistake I see, is people treating the organic audience like it's an ad. Because when we run ads, the beauty of it is your ad exists a bit on an island, meaning you can constantly just make asks, and with ads, that won't hurt your bank account. It's like that doesn't draw on a bank account. That's like having a leverage investment fund. It's an entirely different game that we're playing, right? The old rule, this is something we used to kind of live by. We would say 5 gives, 1 ask. It was like this golden ratio that we would talk about. And I've been in kind of the coaching space for a long time, so this is a nugget that we would have there. And basically it was value, 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 make an offer. Value, 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 make an offer. So long time ago, there was this funnel that we used to do. It was called a Facebook group funnel. So if you've ever been in a Facebook group where it felt like everything was really choreographed, you were probably in a Facebook group funnel. And we would run ads to get people into the group, right? So it's like, free group to learn XYZ thing. Sweet. Value. Then they come in, hey, I've got a free asset for you. Value. Hey, we're doing a free live training on Friday for this. Value. Hey, here's a PDF that we got. Value. After we've dropped all that value, then we make offers, right? Hey, by the way, and this would be way more choreographed to this, but it's like, hey, I know you're struggling with weight loss. That was the thing I was doing for a while. Struggling with weight loss. We have a program that would help. Reply yes if you want that, right? So it's give, ask. Give, ask, right? It worked, but I would argue this is now obsolete. There's a better way to do this, right? So now the way that I like to think about this is give value in public, ask in private. And so move all your asks to DMs, right? Your public feed stays 100% value. So in public, like if I were to go scroll through your Instagram, if I were to, YouTube's going to work a different way. So we can talk about Instagram, we can talk about Twitter right now. We can talk about TikTok. This is going to work the same way. If I were to go scroll through your feed, just value. The whole point of that is get people to know, like, trust you, and give value. There's no equity drained from that. Then the asks or the offers, we do those in private. And the reason is this significantly, in a significantly less way, drains the equity. Right? So why is that? Well, for one, when people come onto your feed and they see that every third post is you making an offer, I'm looking for 5 people that want this, and this. There's so much banner blindness to that it's like when somebody sees an ad, they're like, nope, I'm good, thanks. First part. Second part, if your bio screams like the landing page, where it basically says, DM me this to jump on a sales call. Same thing. Right? That's a massive ask. There's no value in that. Now, you can still have call to action in there. You still have lead magnets. I think we actually talk about that next. Let me see. I'm gonna jump ahead. Why not? My rules, right? My house, my rules. Is that? Yeah, I'm skipping all the way to part 3. Who cares? We'll go back. Right? When we do lead magnets, right? Give actual value. Way back when, the way we would do this is like we'd sit down and try to craft the perfect PDF, and the problem is nobody opens it. It's something that sounds good. It gets somebody's attention, but they don't actually use it. So what we're doing right now is we actually give working tools. We give something that's valuable. And to be fair, I run B2B companies. I know B2C, this might look tangibly different, but it's the same concept. So we'll give away a workflow where it's like, hey, we'll give you an agentic workflow. You opt in, you get this, and when they get it, we actually then have a way to help them set it up, and it actually works. It gives them value. Then we say, hey, we actually have 500 more. You want those? And they can have those as well. And the reason is we'll just sell the implementation. We know when we give them those, there's a pretty good chance that they might not want to run them all. And quite frankly, 10% of people might do them all and might never need anything from us. That's awesome. I'm so happy about that. But for the best customers that will have the bigger companies, for example, they're not going to want to implement it all. And maybe they see that and then they know there's more we can do. But CTA in public, that's the one way you can do it. CTA in public. So probably like a story, sell in the DMs. And then when you have that lead magnet, you actually give value, right? That's probably the second biggest mistake is people do these lead magnets that are, excuse my French, they're fucking stupid. There's no value to them. Okay, I kind of went out of order, probably hurt the flow of this, but who cares? Okay, funnel versus value. This is where I was talking about what's in your Instagram bio, for example, how you set that up. Obvious funnels kill trust. The value machine is a more covert funnel. And I'm not going to weaponize this and say, oh, this is this new funnel I created and this is the only way to do it in 2026. I'm just giving you another great option. Take it for what it is. There's 1,000 ways to do different funnels. Right now I'm seeing people be like, oh, webinars are cool again. VSLs are cool again. I don't know. I don't really care. Any funnel can work for anybody. But what I would tell you as a principle right now is this. Have your funnel actually provide value, especially if you're running to cold traffic, because just running aggressive offers, unless it's a low ticket offer, somebody knows the price, I don't think it's the best way to do it in 2026. All right. Organic works with ads, not as an ad. Organic and ads, when done right, are this beautiful ecosystem to work together. When done wrong, which is more than I probably see it done right, they either treat their ads like they are organic, which actually works okay, but what really doesn't work is treating organic like it's an ad. That's when you see somebody who's got 300 followers, 0 engagement, nothing's happening. You will never hit any critical mass because you're not actually providing any value. Okay, we're talking about this. Let's keep it moving. Oh, is that it? Oh my goodness, I feel like I didn't tie up any loose ends. So let me put a string on this then. All right, so we'll kind of run it back really quick. We'll do like a speed run here. So relationships at scale. That's the goal with this. We're trying to build relationships. We're trying to build the know, like, and trust. We're not collecting followers. We're collecting like loyal people who actually care, who we are then pouring back into by giving them value and solving their actual problems. We want to actually give value, not just ask, right? We talked about how there used to be the golden ratio, the old rules, 5 gives, 1 ask. Instead, how we think of it is this way. In public, give. In private, ask. Right? You do all your, as much of your giving in public, creating goodwill, creating the public like know, like, and trust. And then in private, you make asks, you do offers. And this is where I think DM funnels are really great. But even in those funnels where you're asking, make sure those asks still start with some value. That's you don't have to do it that way, but I think it's the best way to do it. Where hey, you're asking even if you're just asking for somebody to opt in for something, okay, great. But I'm not trying to trick you into a sales call with me and I'm going to give you a strategy. Just kidding. It's a $10,000 pitch, and if you don't do this, you're an idiot. No, let them opt in for something that's actually valuable. That's the lesson. Hope this helps. What do you think?
Bravo. Well done, man. That's fantastic. No, I love that. I mean, it resonates so loudly with where I'm at right now. Because yeah, I mean, your first inclination is to just be like, hey, I have this amazing product or service that all of you would benefit from. And so I want to give, like I just want to, like for me, for example, I'm like, I know I can help you. I know that this thing that I'm trying to sell you will solve your problems. But people don't want to hear that. They just want,
no, they don't.
You're just dead on. It's just dead on.
Yeah.
And, it's, so yeah.
There will be these like rare unicorn moments where somebody comes up with a genuinely new product that is like so mind blowing that they can get away with that. But even for like the smartest people in the world, like that is just so rare that everybody that's a founder that built a product, that's what you feel about your product. And maybe it's true. Exactly. Like maybe it will genuinely help somebody in that way. But to make a product where then that resonates with somebody before they've even tried it and they just like they believe that is so painfully rare that I would just assume it's not possible for the sake of like give value first, right?
Yep. And also the quality of the value that you give them for free in the beginning, like if it just overwhelms them and they're like, oh my gosh, if this is what they're giving me for free, I can't imagine what their actual product would be. you know. So,
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And I think I even used to teach this where it's like, I used to tell people it's like, who cares what your lead magnet is? Like, it's just an excuse to create a conversation. And there's some truth to that. I think as you get into higher end products though, if the thing you're giving away for free actually solves a real problem they have, it goes from, oh, they gave us this cool thing. Yeah, great. I'll give them my information to they gave me this free thing. It helps. Now I'm going to chase them down because I want more. And that's the paradigm shift I've had lately where it's like, instead of me trying to like run around and catch people, I'm trying to create things that are so incredibly valuable that people are running around trying to chase me.
exactly, man. And you're doing a great job with these little videos. I mean, I I have a question. So here's a question for you, if you're open to
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right here with the you're talking about the funnels kill trust. Yeah, totally. Make thinking of your funnel as a value machine. Uh, so what would be some examples? Can you give like some real life examples of like what a funnel that just provides value looks like? That the covert funnel that you described.
Yeah, I think the best way to do this is some type of lead magnet funnel. And that can look different ways, right? It can be an opt-in for a lead magnet, it can be a DM me for a lead magnet, but it's some exchange of either their contact information so you can reach out to them or start a conversation. But then the lead magnet is actually a valuable thing. And it's even the way it's even presented is like, yeah, I made this I made this thing that I actually think would really help my audience. You guys want this? Like that's one way to approach it, right? So I'll give you an example. Um, we're my partner Yassine and I are literally sitting down today and we're going to design our lead magnets. And I don't know if we'll come out with this, so I feel bad that I'm like teasing one that maybe it doesn't end up being this, but I think we'll actually sit down, create an agent that somebody can plug into their CRM, and it will reply to their SMS for them. Like, yeah, that's a product we can go sell. We could create a 6 subscription business for that. Or we know that we can create it in, I don't know, let's say a day, a couple days, a week. Maybe it takes some real engineering. Maybe we have to put an engineer. I don't know, but we can create it, and then we can just hand it off to somebody else. And if it's not perfect, who are they going to reach out to fine tune it? Us. And I don't mean perfect like we're gonna give them the best standard product we can, but there's a good chance they're going to want to customize it, or there's a good chance they're going to want more. But the point is, instead of just being like, yeah, you opt in, it's like here's a PDF on how to make an agent. I mean, nobody's gonna read it, nobody's gonna do it. Or worse is opt in for this video that shows you how to design this certain type of agent. And then the video is really just like it's a high level review. There's nothing actual helpful. And then to close the loop, they have to book a sales call.
Yep,
That's
I've
how
ran
paid
into that
sales work.
before. I've ran into that before. A lot of these people online, they'll basically like be like, "Oh, I had Claude doing all my video editing," and I'm like, "Oh, great, let me get your PDF." Like in my mind, I'm just gonna upload my PDF to Claude and be like, "Claude, do this." But then it only gives you enough information. It's like if you want the code or the prompts or anything like that, join our school community, $100 a month. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah. Yeah. Then you
so I
join the
get it.
school community and it's like, cool, here's the first half of the code. If you want the full code, book a
Yeah,
sales call. Great. It's $10,000.
yeah, exactly. So there you go. So,
Yeah.
yep, that's awesome. Hey, that what you just described right there. I need something like that myself. Like
Yeah.
a
I
CRM
don't,
plugin. Okay.
to be fair, I don't know if that's something like, I don't
I
know
know.
about that or not,
You got my wheels spinning. Okay, so can you give us some advice about like what you mean by selling in the DMs? Like I understand like the many chat
yeah.
automations. It's like, okay, so then maybe that opens a conversation.
Yeah.
Would you suggest relying on some sort of like many chat type automation or what is that flow in your mind when it's selling in
Yeah.
the DMs?
Yeah. Great question. I think at scale, 100%. Like being able to automate speed to lead, um, there's no way to be better than that at scale. So that's like the first part of it. That said, I think a lot of people jump to that too quickly, and they're like, people like you and me that are action takers, that are kind of type A, that are a little bit tech forward. We love to automate stuff probably a little bit too early, and probably the place I see that happen the most is actually in messaging or DMs, where people are just wanting to automate it right away. What I always recommend is go have 100, 200, 300 conversations, and then based off that flow, what you'll find is like you'll find this perfect messaging sequence where it's like this happens, then this happens, then this happens. And if it gets a little bit off track, I actually push back to this, and then here's the offer. And once you find that, then you load that into whatever your AI of choice is, whether it's ManyChat, whether you have a custom product, whether you're using like something in GHL. But I don't know if that exactly answers it, but I'm just want to help you with the one mistake I've
Oh, that
seen
makes
made is like people are just like so gung ho to automate something, and it's like you want to validate that actual offer and that messaging before you just have AI do it, because AI will never validate the messaging or the offer. It'll just spray and pray, and some things will trickle through, and that becomes a false indicator because like, oh, it's working, but maybe it's converting 2% of the conversations when it's optimized, it converts 40% of them. So
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Cool.
As far as
Yeah.
like
That.
a messaging sequence, what I always recommend is, so if you start with a lead magnet, it's it very much depends on what the lead magnet is. So let's just say you're offering, I don't know. Give me an example so I can probably tailor this to you.
Let's see. Let's say like a social media audit, for example. Like we'll go through your whole online presence, like an audit of your whole online presence, and let you know what would be some effective levers to pull.
Yeah. And is the end game to sell something high ticket? What's the thing we want to eventually sell?
Yeah, for me it'd be like social media, marketing, ads, like the full marketing package. Right?
Okay. So the lead magnets, a social audit. That one, I will say that one's tough because you probably would need to either you're going to probably push them to a sales call in that situation and do the
Yeah.
actual audit that way. Let's script that first, because or you could make some type of
Okay.
automation. But let's start
Okay.
with
Oh,
let's start
let's
with that
like
first.
like a PDF style.
No, let's do that because
Yeah. Okay.
let's make it fun. So
Okay.
so let's say you run some type of cold traffic ad. Even it's like free social media ad. DM me this keyword. They DM you. Awesome. Looking forward to that audit so that I can best help you. Um, what would be you got to open with a simple question. It's like, is Instagram the main channel, or what is the business you're looking to grow with this? We want to give them a lay down question that they can answer, and then when they answer it, that creates a lot of buy-in right away. Like it creates investment in the conversation. It's a weird psychological hack, but we want to get them to answer a question. They get to be right. Like there's a lot of things behind that. So then they might say, yeah, I want to grow my landscaping business. Awesome. Then you want to ask a problem-based question. So right now, what would you say has been the biggest constraint growing the business with social media? Is it, and you can even give them options like, is it organic? Is it running ads, or is it something else? And they might say, oh, it's ads. Great. If you want to double down one more time, it's like, and it's the hardest part about ads, getting them set up and running them. Is it making them profitable? And they're like, oh yeah, I've run them, but they're not profitable. Awesome. Then you'll say, I have a ton of clients who are in the same exact position. Like, so hey, I totally get it. I have a ton of clients who are in the exact same position. Right. So you're planting that seed. You get to, you plant the seed. This is a bit of a sales conversation, but you're also, what would be the right word?
Authority.
Yeah. You're creating authority.
Mhm.
I have a ton of clients in this position. I definitely have some advice for you. If you want it, and I always I'll put in parentheses like, if you want it. I just like to ask before blurting things out. Right. It's so disarming when you say that. It's like, so I definitely have some advice for you. If you want it, question mark in parentheses. I just like to ask before blurting things out. LOL. So disarming. Everybody, literally, like 99% of the time, is like, yeah, I totally want it. All right. So say yes, I'd like that. Awesome. Instead of me typing out 3,432 paragraphs, it might be easier if we just jump on a quick call.
Perfect.
Would today or tomorrow be better?
Yep.
I have a little bit of free time.
Yep. I mean, dude, that's exactly like when I first got teamed up with you. That's exactly, shout out to Alex, your sales guy. Like literally, it was like, oh, I want to go over and audit your business, kind of see where you're at. I'm like, great. And by the time we're done, I'm like, here's my credit card. I don't even know who you guys are, but here you go. It was like beautiful, perfect, unbelievable. You
Yeah.
nailed it. So
I
but
literally,
it made so much sense. Yeah.
the first thing I ever bought was first coaching product that was high tech that I ever bought was actually from Yassine, and I was
Oh,
on a
nice.
sales call with one of his sales guys, and I remember leaving that call thinking, even if the thing they just told me they could do, they can't, but they teach me how to make somebody feel how I felt during the sales process,
Yep.
it's gonna be so worth it.
Totally.
Like,
100%.
I don't care if I learn ads, I don't care if I learn marketing, I don't care if I learn how to grow this business, but if I can learn how to make somebody else feel because I went through that call and I was like, man, like they really understand me. They understand my problem. They understand my business. Like I trusted them so much, and I came
Yep.
from cold traffic. I was like, holy crap. Like, I don't know how they
100%.
did this, but I need to understand it.
Yeah, I don't even know how I got into your funnel. I have no idea. To this day, I have no idea because this was like when I was first really getting started, and I was opting into all kinds of stuff online, taking all kinds of lead
Yeah.
magnets. So I opted into something you guys did because I got on your calendar right away. But it was
Yeah.
hilarious,
Yeah.
legendary, and probably the best thing that ever happened to me is getting roped in with you and your crew, man.
Thanks,
Unbelievable.
man.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So
A side note too. I know I feel like at this point we're just chat out. Maybe I'll clip something.
yeah,
Maybe I won't. I don't know. But
yeah,
I was talking to Yassine yesterday, and I called him right after. I was like, "Well, how you feeling?" I was like, "I think you did great." And because I
good.
would have been, if I were him, I would have been super flustered not being able to be on my computer. And the fact that he taught a whole class like that from his phone, like I could not have done that. So
Yeah,
I was like, man, thank you for showing up for them. Like, super awesome.
he did
Um,
great. I'm excited to learn from him, man. That was
dude,
really, really
just
mind blowing.
you have no idea how good he is when he can get in front
Yeah,
of a computer and a whiteboard and start like I've never seen anybody be able to do what he can do.
I love it. I love it.
But I was talking to him about that, and then he had mentioned, he was like, man, like, yeah, Scott said maybe I could jump into his and help the people in his audience too, or he'd send some people our way. And I was like, dude, like Scott's a connector, like
If he
he's
wants to, yeah, I would
because
be
well, and
pumped.
what I told him was, you might have 100, like, so like right now, maybe I have $1,000 right in total, and I might have 10 that are like in my group that are here, and then you have that one that's like it feels patronizing, but like that kind of super fan that's a connector that, and
Yeah.
it's like you don't give a shit about the 100. The 10 are great. It's the one though that like actually opens a lot of doors for you, because
Yep.
even just one simple little connection or something like, and I think when people make their like the reason why I want to bring this up is when people make their social media content or even making like valuable lead magnets, instead of thinking how do I make the thing that's going to go collect 1,000 more people or 1,000
Yeah.
followers or even collect the 10 people in the group, the way I'm trying to think about it now is how do I make the thing that's going to go find me one more Scott?
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
if I had 5 Scots,
Yeah.
I shit you not. If let's say I had 10 Scots, which is, I mean, it's like asking for 10 unicorns, so it probably won't happen.
Yeah.
But let's say I had 10 Scots, I find it impossible to believe that I couldn't have a business doing $1 million a month just from
Yeah.
that like deep of a connection with 10
Exactly.
really cool operators.
You know what? It just occurred to me. Man, I was just not even thinking about that. So yeah, I have my own little school community, but then I also am very good friends with a guy who owns one of the biggest homeschool curriculums in the world, Classical
What?
Learner. If you go to
Hang on, I'll
classicallearner.com
share
and
my
then
screen.
on social media, go to Instagram, look up Classical Learner.
Okay.
He's got like 500,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram, and he runs one of the biggest homeschool. And he's such a cool guy. And they teach entrepreneurship is like the core of what they teach. And yeah, he's a good friend of mine, the guy that runs this. So, and then
Like their
there's another
website.
one, Firefly Academy is a new homeschool curriculum. So I'm kind
Is
of
that your
in this
guy?
kind of Brett Pike. Yep, that's my dude right there.
Oh man,
So,
dude, you can always trust a guy whose last name is a fish. Am I right?
there you go. Exactly. Exactly. So they need to have some sort of like AI curriculum built into this. So, and I know that they're AI friendly. They're like AI forward, very much so. So I can,
Yeah. Oh,
anyway,
I love
stuff
it.
like this. And then my other colleague, who I'm going to be, yeah. Anyway, one of my other colleagues, he has a kind of an entrepreneur course for adults, and it's very robust, very intense. Mine's
What's the
just
name
kind
of
of
that
like,
one?
it's go to getautonomy.info.
Making me spell a little bit, which is scary.
Yep. So
There you
this is
go.
Richard Grove. He is a legend, amazing dude. But yeah, this is his entrepreneur course for adults. And it's a high ticket offer, and
Nice.
he's all about helping people build courses to offer to his students, to his community. So
That's
anyway,
sweet, man. How'd you get plugged
he's
in with him?
well, Richard. I've known him for years. He is known. He's a filmmaker, uh, podcaster. Like he's been podcasting since 2006. So he's like OG podcaster. I've helped him with a lot of his productions over the years, and he's a forensic historian. So he's like one of the world's leading
No
historians
way.
about about the stuff that they won't teach you in school, like the history of the Federal Reserve and like who was funding both sides of World War II and all the. And
Yeah.
he relies on primary sources, like not just conspiracy. This is like his whole thing is he brings primary sources, and he's all about collecting first edition books. So he's got this massive library of like super valuable, rare first edition books that show you
So sick.
like actual references as to like when they call me a conspiracy theorist for saying something, I'm like, okay, well, here's their words right here saying it from a first edition book that they wrote in 1852, telling you that this is their plan. Anyway, so he's unassailable with his information, and he's probably got like a 5,000 IQ. I don't even know, but so he does like history, education in terms of like his podcasting and filmmaking, but then he is like, well, because the world is so corrupt and evil, we need to teach people who understand how the world works, how to make offers to the market, how to build successful businesses and exit the system is kind of his philosophy. So in a way that like you can build your own autonomy so that the government can't like force you to do anything. So anyway, it's kind of a fun thing, but anyway, so those are my buddies. That's my little gang. And, but I think that there would be so much value in, like, yeah, Yassine would just go in there and just, anyway, so there's connections to be made. There's connections to be made with all of us.
For sure. That's awesome. Man, that both of those businesses should be interesting. The second guy, he sounds like my kind of guy.
He's awesome.
I don't know if I could see myself collecting the books, but something that I literally wrote down in a journal recently. Because I am a bit of a collector, but I just like I've collected sports memorabilia over the years. I've collected like some fossils. Like I have a bunch of like shark's teeth over here that I'm into. But something I want to start collecting is old letters from like historical figures.
Totally.
It's like handwritten ones. Like that's something I'm.
100%.
It's hard to get my wife in on it because they're kind of expensive.
Totally. Well, pieces of history like that that kind of show, because it's so crazy. Like learning about some of this stuff. Like I said, I help him produce some of his content, and it's like learning about some stuff that it's like that is like they try to cover this type of history up because it's inconvenient for like the ruling class or whatever. You know what I mean? To find like certain nuggets, but some of them they're very out in the open about. It's very interesting stuff, man. So it's like anyway. And so having those pieces of history are very important, especially in the world we're moving into, where they're actually like right now. We just covered a story recently about how, in order to train the AI, what they're doing is they're taking all these old books and they're scanning them in, but to make it easier, they're like cutting the binding off to be able to open them up fully. And so they're like basically there's like this epidemic of like taking all these old rare books and they're just cutting the binding off and throwing them away or burning them. It's just like that's insane. It might just be propaganda, anti-AI propaganda, but no, it's legit. Look it up. They're literally destroying old books in order to index them, and then that's it. So it's like very 1984-ish.
Yeah,
never read that book.
I have George Orwell, right? I think.
Yep, Orwell. Yep.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so would love to chat about any and all that. So
well, thank you for getting our stream blacklisted. That was helpful. Just kidding. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is all good stuff. But yeah, I'd love to make the connection between Brett and Richard too. That'd be really cool. So just let me know if that's something you want to do. So.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man.
Cool.
Any other thoughts or questions or ideas? Or?
I don't think so. I think my wheels are spinning as to how I can apply this. So I'm gonna just go run with it. So
cool.
Thank you so much.
Bring some thoughts to the next one then.
Will do.
Awesome.